Any questions regarding that? All right, we'll move on to our annual special events liquor license for our Heritage Festival that is coming up on Saturday, the 21st. That will be on, we'll have a public hearing for that today and on the consent agenda, I believe. Any questions? All right, we have 2 ordinances that will be on our formal meeting agenda. Both will be on their first reading, so we will not take up any vote or any action other than just introducing them. The first item is conveying 712 acres of land located at Fort McClellan, installations in Calhoun County, and that is for the purpose of multi-purpose recreational trails. I also want to follow and let you know that I do have a meeting with Mr. Gaddy. I think it's this Thursday to kind of discuss what had been discussed prior to we set up for the seat. Just to piggyback on what you just said, I've been working on this for years and years and years. And the backcountry horse farm area presently has 26 miles of trails at Fort McClellan. In order to attract more equestrian people, the trails need to be expanded. And if they have tried to work with the NBA to get that done, but it's not really happening. And this terrain, if what I have heard is correct, it is not, you cannot develop an industry on it. The terrain is too steep, you cannot do it. Or develop a housing area, there's no water tower there. But the people who ride horses, for them to stay longer and come here more often, they need more trails. 26 miles might seem like a lot, but not in comparison to a lot of other places. And they bring a lot of money. You can't have a horse and be destitute. They shop here, they do all kinds of, we want them to come and stay. And that is part of it. As far as multi-use trails, what they're saying is they would use this for horses and for cyclists. And I understand there's sort of a controversy about that the horse people want it just for horses because they think we already have enough bike trails. And that there's already bike trails out there. We've got the Ladiga Trail, we've got Coldwater Mountain, so that's their argument. But then some of the horse people, they think that they should be multi-use. So I don't really have a position on that, and I would really like to know at your meeting what the rationale is. And then I know more about it, but I do know I've been working on this for so many years. It's been so difficult. And these equestrian people, the backcountry horsemen people, they come in and they do a lot of the work themselves. They have already equipment from the county, and the purpose of turning this over to the county, from what I understand, was Gloria Floyd's idea that the Backcountry Horsemen of America cannot afford as a nonprofit insurance, but the county can get it at a reasonable price. So that would be the purpose of doing this, if what I understand is correct. So if you will confirm all this in your meeting, Ciara, that I'm correct on everything I say, I'm pretty sure that I am, but just in case I have made any kind of mistake, I would like to know it. I don't think I have though.
So if I may, Ms. Harris, about 6 or 8 weeks ago, I guess, Mr. Folks, before he left, and Skylar, and I, and Mayor Draper, then Mayor Draper, had a meeting with all the county commissioners, the county administrator, and maybe 1 or 2 other people in that meeting to discuss what our plans were with this property. And we kind of jointly decided that the best solution was for the area to be developed as a recreation area, a mixed-use recreational trail system. So we had a subsequent meeting with some members of the mountain biking community and some members of the president and the vice president, I think, of the McClellan chapter of the Backcountry Horsemen of America. and we agreed to work together that it should be mixed-use recreational trails. They need more access to property to develop horseback trails. At the same time, if we are going to attain our goal of a gold level or silver level ride center in Calhoun County, of which there are only maybe 6 or 8 in the world, then we still need some more mountain bike terrain. We need some different types of terrain. But in both meetings that I've been in, the county has been on board with seeing this developed as mixed use, not just for mountain bikes and not just for horseback. But so that we can market the area as a recreation area, not just for one user group, or another.
Maybe the controversy that I heard is some of the horse people do not want it to be mixed use. Maybe that's my minority.
I think there was some misunderstanding earlier a few months ago about how the property would be developed. And maybe a small faction of each group wanted all or nothing. And so that's just not, I think that's just not what we decided was the best for them.
That's fine.
So, yes, just out of curiosity, why wasn't the MD on board with?
That's a very good question. I have no idea. I have no idea. I never understood it. Mr. Burroughs?
You're exactly right. That I was in some of those meetings as well, and MDA pretty much did not convey to us why they did not want to. Like Ms. Harris said, I think there was a little bit more misunderstanding. The horsemen wanted the trail for their specific use, but some wanted it to be multi-use. So I think with you meeting with Mr. Getty, I think there could be some defined decisions on how we want to move forward.
Absolutely. All right. Good deal. Thank you.
And I'll follow up with you all about
Good deal. Thank you.
any more for that particular matter? Our next ordinance, again, it will just be introduced today, not voted on, and is conveying out parcel 2 to Blackwater as part of the development agreement at our Stonewall subdivision for a tire and auto service center. Any discussion? All right, we'll move forward. Cost abatement, there are 18 properties for cost abatement nuisances. Housekeeping pretty much. Ms. Bryant, do you have anything?
No, this is just simply to allow for the filing of liens on these properties that we have cut.
And that is also on our consent agenda, I believe. Financing for approved golf cart bid, we did get some financing terms with First Bank of Alabama. It's a little over $200,000. I think the interest rate is 4.99%. We did reach out to multiple banks, and I think we only received 2 responses back, Regions and First Bank. And First Bank had the lowest interest rate, and that is for those golf carts over at the golf course. Any discussion? All right, we'll move on to Councilmember Harris's discussion that she has for us regarding paving and residential fencing. If you would like to go.
Okay, a few months ago, maybe it was longer than that, it came up in one of our work sessions that concerning regulations on fencing. And as I understand, at the time, we had a regulation in the city of 2.5 feet in the front yard, and I can't remember what in the backyard, but we never passed any, we changed that to 36 inches, which is typical for a chain link fence. But we never actually specified any kind of materials. And at the time, Jay Jenkins, expressed he was against it because he didn't want to put any kind of hardship on our citizens who may not be able to afford certain kinds of fencing. Well, I've gotten a lot of complaints about one particular fence that is covering a whole lot, and it's made of plastic, and it is just awful. I agree, it's just terrible. And another, you go down Fairway, and there's another fence on 7th Street that is chicken wire, and that is not supposedly acceptable. But I'm not sure if these fences, if we passed an ordinance specifying the types of materials that they could be, if these people would be grandfathered or not. They may be grandfathered, and we don't have roofs here, so that's a question I need to ask him. And the thing is, this would, I think, help in the future for other people to know, if you're going to do a fence, it needs to be certain materials. Because it's an eyesore to the people who live around the terrible fence, and it hurts their property value. So I don't blame anybody for complaining. And so anyway, that is something that we need to discuss, and I wanted to know if you all would be interested in moving that forward and investigating it further, and recommend, Town can tell you what other cities do. And I can research more of it as well, but anyway, I think that we need to address that. I would like to see it addressed personally before I leave.
Is this an ordinance that we adopted, 308?
What's currently in front of you is what the ordinance currently states.
Okay.
In your packet is the wording that Ms. Harris is referring to, as well as some pictures of those fences, so you all can see what that looks like.
And you all, if I'd like for y'all to at least less considerate, but that's where I want to do. It's up to y'all, really. And the other thing I have a concern about is New Flyer. And New Flyer, the other day, one of our people applied for Ciara response said New Flyer was not. It's not. He was mistaken. It's very confusing because it's in Anniston in Ward 4. They employ over 750 people. They make electric buses for the entire United States. They a few years ago were considering leaving and moving to Canada. Because that's where their headquarters was at the time. I'm not sure where it is now, but anyway, they were really considering moving. And so we, as a city, wanted to keep them here, obviously. And we made some, work with them some, and one was a grant to try to create a national drive in front of it, because it's terrible. And I've been getting all kinds of emails from that company about how we patch it, and then it doesn't last. The patching comes up, and it's just a big mess. They say it's damaging people's cars and all this kind of stuff. And the county, many years, agreed to split the cost of this with the city. And I know that, from what I can understand based on the budget, this would almost wipe out our budget for the rest of the year, even if they split it with us. And I don't know if that means that we couldn't do any patching or, what. Besides paving, I've done very little paving because I know it's so very expensive. I want to know if that budget would be totally depleted as far as having any money for patching, if we did this. And
is there a cutoff for spending before, like, is there like a cutoff where you can no longer put in regs or it be issued a PO for something?
No, not as long as it's a little.
Okay. So we have, and correct me if I'm wrong this fast, we have 136,000 available for paving projects for this current fiscal year.
Yes, and it's on page 62 of your packet.
And then the actual total cost for it is going to be a little over 247,000 in estimate.
Yes.
I say we should move forward with it. I think that is a great benefit.
I don't get no money left over from something, from what we,
But they're,
this money that we earmarked to pay. I guess,
well, I understand.
the money that we would get. I understand we only have that much related, but we don't have any other reserves or emergency funds or something.
we would have to do an amendment, correct?
Technically, no. City manager, prior city manager has $300,000 sitting in reserve for capital projects that we did not touch.
But we don't need to touch it for this project, do we?
If you're going, I don't think, well, you can find, we can look at find funds and any of the other funds, but that would be my only thing I think you can move on. Or unless you wanna go into your budget, but I don't think you have.
I see saying housing in the road.
So just to make sure, so any budget amendments would have to be done within the last 3 months of the fiscal year.
That's what the policy said.
So it would have to be around July timeframe.
Okay, well, I guess I'm a little confused because we have over 136,000 available and the project total was about 247. And if the county's paying half, we don't really necessarily have to.
Oh, no, yeah, if the county's paying that, you're good.
Then we got plenty.
There'll be 11, 12, around 12,000 left in that page budget. You all decided to go along that line.
I think we should move forward.
I think we should. I'm not sure of those 750 employees, how many are actually residents in Anniston, but it's a huge industry. I think we've got to support it.
I think the level of partnership that New Flyer has shown to not only the city of Anniston, but the region warrants, making sure that they can get their employees to and from work in an effective and safe manner, as well as rolling their product out on the road. And I'm sure, as heavy as that product is, it causes some stress on the infrastructure. But I think if we're going to remain a good partner with them, as good a partner with them as they've been to us.
I think we need to do it, and I would say the county, 10 years ago, they would bring Briar Road, it was just terrible, and he split the and I can't remember. I don't know if Al got there or not, I can't remember, it's been so many years ago, but the county's been a very good partner with us. They have a lot more money than we did for paving, and they have really been very helpful. And so I would appreciate us moving forward on this, and I think it will help us in a lot of respects, that we encourage economic development, we support existing business, industry, and so I really think that we should do it.
Well, so I guess I don't have my concern is not that we can do it. My concern is we make that whole, we do that. But will we be able to assist our current infrastructure outside of that if we use the 136 that we have?
It's just for this fiscal year, correct?
Correct.
So that
It is fiscal year, isn't it?
October 1st enters the new fiscal year.
We probably got the passing that probably could be done.
Well, we have those 300,000 in reserves if we've got to deal with some patching. You mean?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, will we be able to survive our regular operations of trying to maintain our streets and keep people in? If we use this WF payment as opposed to pulling from reserves. I guess what I was looking at, when they had, whatever they had folks pull that from reserves, and you still have that in reserves, and you have what we 136 left for payment.
Well, I don't think we're going to use over 136,000 in potholes right now before the fiscal year. So to me, it would make more sense.
I thought we could.
I mean, we probably could. I don't think that.
I know we could. I support this. I understand that there are plenty other streets that need to be repaved, not just patched, but repaved. So I understand the stress that it puts on the rest of the infrastructure.
25 Oak Street on 19 or Jackson. That would probably be good.
But if we get in a bind, and we do need to move forward with added paving projects, we could pull from our reserve capital fund. That be correct, Leonard?
Yes.
And so, if you don't mind, and if we have time there, could you explain to me just from my benefit the visit process the last 3 months? 3 months of the fiscal year.
Yes, sir. So it's in your council manager act. If you go to the section regarding finance, it lists that budget amendments can be made the last 3 months of the fiscal year.
Okay. That's in Councilman, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Rock, okay.
Any more discussion regarding Councilmember Harris's discussion item?
Thank you.
One thing before we get to city manager updates, and I know I did not put this on the work session, but I just wanted to bring it to you all's attention just to see if you all are okay with me kind of moving forward with this. I would really like, and I think this is going to have to be in conjunction with Outline, talking about getting a traffic light out there near Summerall development. Coming out of Aldi's is extremely difficult, and I foresee a lot of disaster coming if we don't address that. And I think because that's 21, yes, 21, that we're gonna have to address that at some point. So I would like to get ahead of it before we start getting all these nice, beautiful restaurants and retail spots and even a hotel, so that, you know, we can prevent.
I agree with you. I've seen a lot of, I try not to comment, but I see a lot of things on Facebook where people have talked about how dangerous that is. So I think we'd be right to ask Outline.
I'll work with Ms. Max on moving forward with that. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you all about, a lot of the complaints that I get specifically on the west side of Anniston are lighting concerns. We currently have a master agreement with Alabama Power. I would like to assess that master agreement and see how we can improve it to hopefully decrease some of the issues we're having. Not just in West Anniston, but that's where a lot of my complaints come from. I was the Ward 3 council person, but the entire city, so.
I've had, not necessarily complaints, but I've had the lights, how dark it is in Rocky Hollow neighborhood brought up to me twice this week. And I've gone and looked at a couple of those spots, and there are lights on the corner, but it is so dark in some of those areas that people, don't walk down the street. It's just
I just
so
think we need some
dark.
upgraded lighting.
One of the things I noticed that I do with this all the time is all of the lights are not the same.
Right.
Some lights, you get brighter light, you have one in the center of this street, and you can see to both corners. You have some that you could be standing under and you can see.
Do they mind, years ago, we talked about this, about lighting. And the problem that I was told was people shooting the lights out, just being destructive. Do they make lights now that cannot be eradicated with gunshots? I don't know enough about it. I'd like to know.
I don't know, but I think the new LED lights are more difficult you can't, it's not just like one bulb that can be shattered and kill the light. I think that all the diodes, the rest of the diodes that wouldn't be impacted would still be active. I believe, unless like the ballast was dead.
But I was just shooting the lights were going in the high crime area, right? Now, I don't know if those is in regular residential areas. I know 15th and 15th and Carl and Cook was high at one time. Then Crenshaw and all was high, but as far as residential areas, because I had one street on my block, I think it may be overall on the other side of Tyler Union, where if you turn the lights off, you can't see anything. I mean, not even in the car, with the lights in the car. So it's something that, I've been talking to the previous city manager about it. And I understand the money issue, but at some point in time, we keep our revenues increasing over the past 4 years.
I think we can prioritize some funding.
Yeah.
To improve public safety in our city. So, are we good with that? Just kind of go over. Okay. Ms. Fox, do you have any updates?
Yes, I just want to get a little bit of insight from council. A couple of weeks ago, I sent you all an email regarding MGA appointments. I know Ms. Ciara, she mentioned one but there needs to be two. There's a replacement for Ward 1, which is Mr. Garner, and then Ward 2 with Mr. Collins.
I thought they put somebody,
Let me say this, there was a female, I can't, here I can't remember her name, but she's come and spoken to us. Yeah, you're right. And anyway, then I contacted, who did I contact to ask about the MBA? And, oh, I know, it was Julie Borelli. And she said that those positions have been filled, and that was this week when I asked her, because this woman was very interested in it. But the former guy that was on it, Jim Farrell, was not interested, because I talked to him too. And then I told her about somebody interested in it, and she said they've been filled. I'll let you know if it comes back. So,
yeah, and then our last council meeting, if I'm not mistaken, we did have to send a household, but I think it was on there that someone had been assigned to fill the positions. It was two names.
Burr was in Gardner.
Two.
Yes,
Quentin Burr,
Yeah, but I mean, how,
They were on the off, right?
No, they were actually
they were so wrong, but I didn't know.
Is that part or NDA?
And
But if you still need
Burr
Is
to.
that part or NDA?
So you know that.
We done both.
Shoot an email or so they knock out, I'll get some. That's what we're doing.
y'all recently met to consider, to address the homeless issue. Is there any kind of update on that? Y'all are going to meet recently.
We're gonna meet again, without looking at my calendar,
Next week.
next Tuesday, I think, at Martha's Hope. To kind of continue planning for that Martha meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, if I did it, I'll give you, some of the details.
Ms. Massey, have any more updates?
I know.
All right, well, we will adjourn, council meeting starts at 5:30.